For a long time after the referendum, the very idea of holding a second one seemed unthinkable. The feeling was that undoing the vote of the people would undo any politician that tried it. It's why most Tories oppose the idea and why Jeremy Corbyn has seemed reluctant to endorse it. But is there now a way it could happen? If Tuesday's vote on the withdrawal deal sees the Prime Minister defeated as expected, she will find herself under immense pressure. Earlier this week, MPs wrestled back more control of the whole decision-making process, making the default no-deal Brexit far less likely if she loses. And while Theresa May has been resolute in her opposition to a second referendum, a paralysed Parliament might make her U-turn. Rather more likely is that a cross-party group of MPs could table an amendment demanding a vote on whether to go back to the people.
It's important to remember that following the 2017 general election, Theresa May is running a minority government with the support of the DUP. And normally our politics works best when you have a majority government that can get things through Parliament without too much difficulty. Theresa May's problem is, of course, that Parliament is very deeply divided. And precisely because of that reason, we may end up having another referendum because MPs cannot reach a consensus on where to go.
Up till now, the biggest worry surrounding a second referendum has been how divisive it would be for the country. But the practicalities are equally problematic and arguably impossible to achieve in the short time left before our departure date. Remember, that's enshrined in law. That's because in order to have a referendum, you have to first legislate for it. Then there's the matter of what will be on the ballot. It's likely the choice would be one of leaving the EU with Theresa May's deal, leaving the European Union without a deal, or simply staying in the EU. But the complicating factor here is that without a black and white choice, you'd be unlikely to get an overall majority for any option, meaning voters might be asked to give their second preferences too. And all of that would need to be overcome before the clock stops ticking.
In order to have a referendum, you have to get a bill through Parliament and you have to allow time for the campaign. That, all in all, would probably take about 22 weeks, about 5 months. That would take us beyond the 29th of March. But there's every likelihood that if the government decided it wanted to go for a referendum, that the other EU leaders would extend that deadline to allow time for a referendum.
But would the EU be quite so accommodating? And is the breakdown of our parliamentary democracy enough to justify overturning the democratic will of the people?